Hey everyone, and welcome back to Chawk-N-Talk, a little show where the Chikenhawk talks about whatever he feels like for the day. And today we're going to be bringing something back that I have talked a little bit about before, but we're going to kind of go sideways with it and look at it from a different point of view. All right, so one of my earlier episodes, I talked about the Hoka Cliftons and how I have like 13 pairs of them. I actually recounted that and think I only have 10, maybe 11 pairs. I had to get rid of the others because I just wore them out. Okay. And we're going to be looking at these today a little bit, but we're going to be comparing them to something else. Now, you already know that I like these for the comfort, and they really help a lot in my day-to-day activities. Okay. But what I've not talked about are my other pair of shoes, which are the Vibram Five Finger shoes. Okay, and how I do wear these from time to time, and we're going to get into it. We're going to look at barefoot shoes in general, which is what these are. We're going to the company Vibram, and then we're going to talk about the comfort on your foot, or at least how I feel about it. Okay, with that being said, let's get it started. So first and foremost, the barefoot enthusiast is a person who thinks that going barefoot is really the best thing for your foot. In fact, a lot of barefoot enthusiasts will tell you that a shoe like this, or even shoes with not as thick of a sole, are actually bad for your foot in a way. What they're doing is because there's no flex in the shoe, you're actually causing the muscles and the tendons in your foot to get weaker. They may use the term atrophy, which just means that your muscle tissue is getting smaller and weaker. Okay, and that these shoes are not as good as we think they are. Okay, we should actually be doing something else to make our feet stronger, and going barefoot is a way to do it. A lot of them also blame the company Nike because Nike in the 70s, maybe it was late 60s, I'm not 100% sure, came up with the Nike waffle, and from there, a thicker cushioned sole kind of developed out of it. And y'all know Nike is really big in the sports world, right? They have developed a lot of shoes, and they go for comfort and support for the athlete. That's not necessarily the best thing for all of us, okay? And especially in today's world, we have to consider what shoe that we need, barefoot or soled, because of this stuff called concrete. Okay, most of the surfaces that we walk on these days are not dirt. They're actually really, really hard surfaces that are really, really hard on our feet. And I'm not 100% sure that the human was designed to tread those pathways, at least without support. Well, Vibram started back in the day. I couldn't tell. I know it was the early 1900s. This guy by the name of Vitale Bramani, he was an Italian alpinist. And for those of you who don't know what an alpinist is, that's someone who was into mountain climbing, specifically the Alps. Okay. Well, he wanted a shoe that was really good for mountain climbing, that had the grip of a mountain shoe, but it also had the strength of a shoe with spikes. So he wanted, as you're climbing the mountains, he wanted to make sure he had grip and then strength to hold on to the mountainside. Okay, as time progressed, Romani was able to make a lot of technological advances with rubber, and that rubber really defined the Vibram sole. Okay, now his focus seemed to always be on mountain activities, but he really expanded into a lot of different worlds. And eventually, his rubber sole came to the dress shoe and the casual shoe. And what started happening is Vibram would actually make the soles for these shoes of other companies. So you wouldn't necessarily go out and buy a Vibram shoe. You would buy another shoe that had a Vibram sole on it. Okay. And then finally in 2002, I think it was the early 2002, they came up with the Five Fingers. And they're called the Five Fingers because each toe was on its own little slot in the shoe. Okay. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is kind of a very short history of the Vibram company and how we're where we are today. Now, they have many different designs, and they've had types of shoes that come on after the Five Fingers since 2002, but my focus is obviously going to be on these today. Now, in the Five Fingers, there are many types of designs of shoes. They have ones that are designed like boots. They obviously have these, and several other types. Okay, so don't think that me showing you this is the only type of Five Finger shoe that Vibram carries. Now, there are a lot of things to consider. Okay, first and foremost, when I bought these, I wanted to look at sole thickness because I'm gonna be honest, I've worn these kind of shoes my whole life, so I'm a little bit of a pansy when it comes to things that I'm walking on, right? I'm not going to be walking on a bed of coals, all right? And so one of the things, the first things I looked at is out of all of these barefoot shoes, I wanted something that had just a little bit thicker sole to it. So instead of a 2 millimeter or 3 millimeter sole, I went up actually and got a 4 millimeter. Okay, and that was my own desire. Now, obviously, as you can tell, what I just said, they have several different thicknesses that you can choose from. Okay, the styling also changes too. The reason that I picked these were for water sport activities. Okay, I wanted a shoe that I could go into the river, the lake, the beach, and I didn't have to worry about taking my shoes on and off, and I also didn't have to worry about what I stepped on while I was in the water. Okay, just a little bit more safety there. I used to run in a pair similar to this. I can't do that anymore. I'm not in that good of a shape. Okay. But you can also choose your Vibrams based off the activity that you want to enjoy. Okay. I believe this one's called the KMD. I have no idea what KMD means, but I think the original was called the KSO, which stood for Keep Stuff Out. So when you put on the shoe, right, and you slip your foot in there, it's designed to keep stuff out, keep stuff from coming into the shoe like dirt and pebbles and stuff like that. Even so, occasionally I do still get a couple of little things in there. And it's really honestly not that hard to put them on and take them off. In fact, I'll show you how to do that now. All right, a few things that you need to know about the Vibram shoes. And I'm specifically talking about things of comfort. Uh, the first, I'm going to almost call them rules. Rule number one, it's your first day that you got them. All right. Don't just get into them and go. You're going to have to train your foot. Okay. If you try to put these on and wear them, especially on concrete surfaces or hard surfaces, you're going to have a lot of foot pain at the end of that day, or maybe not even at the end. You're probably not going to make a whole day with them. My suggestion, or my rule number one, okay, is to wear them a few minutes and build up your muscle strength so that you can eventually wear them as much as you want to. Okay, I'll be honest, I only wear mine for a couple hours at a time. All right, that's rule number one. Rule number two, get this out of your head right now that you can wear them anywhere that you want. Okay, especially if they're new to you. All right, our feet are not designed to walk onto concrete. Okay, our feet were designed so that we walk on dirt and surfaces like that. Okay, these shoes are barefoot shoes, right? They're trying to mimic you being barefoot. So don't just start off walking on concrete. All right, in fact, build up. When you get used to walking in the dirt with them over time, then start adding in harder surfaces a little bit at a time. But don't just, right out the box, hey, I'm going to go running on concrete today or asphalt. No, don't do that. Next, rule number three, consider the sole thickness. especially like if you buy these for activity and these are only for water, okay, then consider that the sole's probably going to be a little bit thinner. Think about that. All right. If you're running or if you're walking on asphalt that's real knobby, and you know what I mean, some of the rocks are sticking out of the asphalt, it's probably going to, hurt. I mean, I've walked on plenty of rough surfaces and I can't go on everything with them because the rocks, you will feel every bump in the road. Okay. Um, and the between the toe part, this is another thing that you need to consider. I don't really call it a rule, but it takes some getting used to. I mean, putting your toes and having separated them with this cloth material in between it, okay, it takes a little bit to get used to, not going to lie there. It took me a while. It's a little bit bothersome, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay, if you're really sensitive there, you might think about getting socks that are made for these. They actually have toe socks. All right, they look kind of funny, in my opinion. I don't wear them. Okay, I think I'd rather just put my shoes in these and get my feet in these shoes and go. All right. So those are kind of the things that you really need to consider with wearing them. The look, the style. I know that having the toe things is a little off-putting to some people. I enjoy it, but I'm also a more flamboyant type of person that I like people kind of checking me out, not because I look good, but just because I have strange or unusual things on. And yeah, I'm weird. Yeah, just call me the weird Chikenhawk, right? A lot of people don't like the look. I say give them a shot, right? If I'm you, at least try them out, see what you think, because a lot of people will ask me about these shoes just because I'm wearing them. So, all in all, the Vibram Five Fingers is not for everybody. You have to make a choice here and decide if this is going to be the shoe for you. I like them at the beach. I like them at the river. I'll be honest, when I'm on the boat, out fishing, or if we're just riding around the boat, I really enjoy having these shoes on. I can get them wet without worrying about them. They dry out really quick, and they provide plenty of grip for that boat surface. Also, in the water swimming, they don't get in the way. If I'm just swimming along, I can get in the water and be perfectly fine. They're not going to weigh me down, and they're not going to alter my swim too much. But again, it's up to you. Like I said, I like to wear shoes, and I like to wear things that kind of get a message out there and say, hey, I'm a little bit different than everybody else. But you be you, and you got to make your own decisions there. Please let me know in the comments, do you like these? Do you think they're cool looking, or do you hate their guts? All in all, that's all I got for this episode. This is the Chikenhawk, and blessings to you.